Hello, and welcome to QuoteRUSH. Today, we're going to be going over how to quote auto on QuoteRUSH Web. By now, most of you should already know that you can quote home using QuoteRUSH Web. But did you know that you can do the exact same with auto? Before we go over how to do just that, I'd like to point your attention over to the left-hand side of the screen to this training portal. Please make sure you give this a look because it's going to give you some tutorials on how to do basic things like add a lead, edit a lead, or even run a quote. Alongside even more advanced tutorials, you'll also have the opportunity to sign up for our weekly webinars and even review some actual training videos, like this one. Now, with the training section covered, I'd like to point your attention to the green button that says New Lead. This is where we'll need to start to quote an auto lead. Once you've done so, you'll see this wizard pop up. And in this example, we're going to select Auto. Once you click Next, you'll be given some questions to answer. After completing these questions and clicking Submit, we'll populate the lead information inside of the QuoteRUSH system for you. Another really handy feature if you're quoting auto is our LexisNexis feature. For an additional cost, if you're looking for the VIN numbers and driver's licenses at an address, you can add that onto the account, and when you click Submit, you'll find those addresses, drivers, and vehicles already added to the lead. If this is something that interests you, please don't hesitate to reach out to billing@quoterush.com. Once you click Submit, you'll be taken to a card that looks like this. This is your lead card. If you want to review the details about your lead, which is what we need to do, you'll want to go to the top right corner and click on the icon that has a little eye and says Edit, right here. Once you click the Edit button, things should start to look a little more familiar. In fact, you should see the tabs that you would typically see inside of QuoteRUSH Desktop, and you can use these to navigate through your lead and review its details. First up, let's go ahead and take a look at the Client tab. The main difference that you should notice between QuoteRUSH Web's Client section and QuoteRUSH Desktop's Client section is the subsections on the left-hand side. Instead of giving you one long form, we give you a few different, more bite-sized areas where you can fill in some information. In today's example, because we are only planning on quoting an auto, we'll only need to fill out the Client tab and then move on over to the Auto section. The Home, RCE sections, and Underwriting sections can be skipped if you don't plan on quoting any home properties. I would like to take this opportunity to point out that just like with Home, you don't want to skip any fields. As much information as you can possibly fill is exactly what we want put into the system. Leaving gaps in your information ultimately just means more work for you when you're inside of the carrier sites. After filling out your applicant, your co-applicant, and any contact information on the Client tab, you can go ahead and save your lead. And after saving, we can head right over to the Driver and Auto tab. Once inside of the Driver and Auto section, you will notice three different sections. Those are policy information, drivers, and vehicles. If you've already signed up for the LexisNexis feature, you may notice that drivers and vehicles will already come pre-populated into your lead. Otherwise, that's going to be some information that you will need to enter manually. The policy details section should be pretty familiar. It'll contain all the fields you would normally use to specify the prior and current policy limits. When adding a new driver or vehicle, make sure to click the blue button in the top right corner. After adding and saving a vehicle or a driver, you can come over here and click this button to go back and review or add additional information to your driver or your vehicle. I do want to point out that during the process of filling out this information, at certain points you will have the option of applying defaults. And that's easy enough to do. All you'll need to do is go over to your profile, Profile and Settings, and then under this menu, set defaults for auto. For additional information on how to set your defaults or how they apply to your lead, please feel free to contact our support team and they'll be more than happy to explain further. In the meantime, let's go ahead back to our lead. At this point, we've filled out all the necessary information under Client, as well as for our vehicles, our drivers, and our policy limits. So all that's left is to head on over to the Run Quotes area and pick our carriers. Inside of the Run Quotes tab, you'll notice there's two separate sections, one for home and the other for auto. This is because you'll likely have different carrier lists for the two different types of business. So what we'll do is go over to the auto section and select a carrier. And notice it automatically updates as soon as you pick that carrier with an estimated time. In the case that you have multiple carriers that you would like to quote, you also have the option of selecting Add All, and that will move all of the carriers on your list over to the selected carriers list. Once this looks good, and you're ready to run a quote, go ahead and click Submit Quote. Now that we've submitted our quotes, it's time for us to head on over to the bot queue and review the status. Once you go over to the bot queue, you'll see some graphs, as well as a list of all of your current or recent leads. And if you click the green plus sign, you'll get some more detailed information about the specific lead that you just selected. We're looking for quoted status. You can occasionally refresh your browser page for any of those that still say new until they say quoted. For anything else that says error or timeout, or anything that doesn't make sense to you, please make sure that you report that to support so we can take a look. Once I've finished quoting, and I'm ready to review my quotes, I can return over to the Home tab and use either the magnifying glass or a name that appears on the Home tab to open up to my client. And you'll even notice those quotes will be displayed right up front when you go to your client card. You'll also want to take note of the three tabs up top that separate the different lines of business for home, auto, and flood. So make sure that you're looking at the right tab for the right line of business. In our case, we're going to look at auto. Once you've reviewed your quotes, you may have some extra work to do. You can easily identify items that you need to address in your carrier site by clicking on the little green icon to the right of the quote date. This will give you a list of different things that we may have had to change in order to get you a quote or the result that you're looking at. When you're ready to go back and review the quote inside of the carrier site, feel free to click the button on the far left-hand side, and that'll link right over to the carrier. After addressing the messages accounted for in QuoteRUSH, you may notice that your coverages have changed, and that's okay. We'd like you to reflect that in the quotes before you share them to the client, and you can do so by clicking on the blue button on the right-hand side. Once you've opened up this window, you can make any adjustments you'd like before saving your work, and this will be reflected when you go to print your quotes. Our final step would be to print out and share the quotes with our client. So you'll want to click on the icon in the top left corner that looks like a printer if you wanted to print out or save a copy of your quotes. And if you'd like to make any adjustments, note the little gear icon just to the right. That'll take you over to the settings for this feature. With that being the final step, this concludes our QuoteRUSH Web auto training. Thank you for your time, and happy quoting!